poles and cross arms have been distributed along this section of an open wire line, and the holes have been dug for the poles and any required guys. Now you can equip and erect the poles. This pole is to have 2 single cross arms. These cross arms will be attached before the pole is erected. For through bolts, use 5/8-inch machine bolts. Place a square washer on each bolt and insert each into the hole from the back of the pole. The through bolts must be long enough to extend about 5 inches beyond the face of the gain. Then turn the pole over so the face is up. Now you are ready for the cross arms. The cross arm is placed over the bolt with the braces away from the pole. Place a square washer over the bolt and tighten. After placing a square washer over the bolt of the second cross arm, the nut is tightened. The next step is to line up the cross arms so that they are at right angles to the axis of the pole. Use a string stretched from the pole center line at the bottom of the pole to the through bolt on the lowest cross arm as a guide. Then place a steel square against the lower cross arm and line up the square with the string. After the cross arm is aligned, tighten the nut firmly. The lower ends of the cross arm braces have been brought together so that the holes overlap. A 4.5-inch lag screw is used to fix the braces to the pole. Once the lower cross arm is in position, the other cross arm is lined up parallel to the first, using the square. After lineup, you tighten the nut of the through bolt for the top cross arm and fix its braces to the pole in a similar manner. The next step is to erect the pole. Poles may be set either with a pole derrick or with pike poles. Here, a V-17 truck with a derrick is being guided to a position which will center the tip of the A-frame over the hole. The truck is stopped when the top of the A-frame is centered directly over the hole. Then the winch line is brought to the position where it will be attached to the pole. This position must be just above the balance point so that the butt of the pole will stay down when the pole is lifted. Pass the free end of the winch line under and around the pole. Make sure that the open end of the S-hook faces the butt or bottom of the pole. This is a must safety measure because the running end of the winch line will pull against the top and back of the hook, and thus ensure that the winch line will not slip out of the S-hook while raising the pole. On receipt of the signal, the winch is engaged to raise the pole. As the pole is raised slowly, one man guides the butt until it is centered above the hole. Another man carefully watches the raising operation and gives the required hand signals to the winch operator. He must carefully watch the raising operation to make sure that the S-hook never comes nearer than 1 foot to the sheave as it approaches the top of the boom. If necessary, move the truck to pull the pole into position rather than foul the S-hook. Slack off on the winch line to lower the pole into the hole. When the pole is resting on the bottom of the hole, you can use a cat hook to face the pole in the proper direction. After facing the pole in the proper direction, the winch line can be removed and the pole is ready for aligning and tamping. Poles are faced so that any pull from the wires will pull the cross arm against the pole. Along straight sections of line, the facing of the poles alternate. each pole being faced opposite to the next one. Then half the poles will be faced correctly for any pull in one direction, the other half for any pull in the other direction. When you have a longer span than usual, you face the poles at each end of the long span away from each other. Longer spans create a greater weight between the poles. This results in a pull toward the center of the span. When you have a steep grade, you face all of the poles uphill because of the pull of the wires is downhill. The pole next to a dead end is faced toward it to take the pull from the line. Usually the poles next to a corner pole face toward the corner. However, if there is a long span on one side of the corner, the pole will face away from the corner. When poles face a single corner pole, the pull from the line on each side will tend to pull the cross arms toward the poles. The facing of the poles on either side of a two-pole corner is also toward the corner poles to take care of the pull along the line. The corner poles themselves face each other because the pull of the lines from the corner pole to the next pole is greater than the pull between the two corner poles. After being set and faced, the pole must be placed in a true vertical position before the hole around the pole is filled with earth. Normally, 4 men using pike poles are used to straighten the pole. To position the pole in its true vertical position, 1 man, from a short distance away, sights in the pole from the side. Another man sights in the pole from the line of lead. The pike poles are braced to the ground, keeping the pole in its true vertical position. The next step is to backfill the hole around the pole. As a safety measure, all 4 of the braced pike poles should be held in position. This will keep the pole straight during the backfilling of the hole. It is important that the earth be tamped thoroughly, the full depth of the hole. If possible, use coarse soil or gravel for filling in the top of the hole. Bank the earth around the pole above ground level and pack it firmly. This will permit rain to run off away from the base of the pole. Where it is impossible to get a truck with a derrick into a position where a pole is to be raised, it will be necessary to erect the pole manually. When a pole must be erected manually, it is easier to raise it without the cross arms being attached. Here, the hole for the pole has already been dug to the proper depth, and the men are about to raise the pole. To prevent the butt of the pole from gouging the hole, place a butting board on the side of the hole away from where the pole lays. In firm soil, you can use digging bars instead for this purpose. Then bring the butt end of the pole to a position in line with the butting board and slide it against the butting board. Next, you can begin raising the pole from the top end. For a heavy pole such as this one, use a pole support, commonly referred to as a dead man, to hold the weight of the pole while the men shift their position to continue the raising operation. Use the dead man whenever necessary to support the pole. After the pole is partially raised, you can use pike poles to advantage to complete the raising operation. The two men on the side use the pike poles to guide and push. The two center men use the pike poles to push the pole upward. Pike poles must be held securely so they won't slip and injure another lineman. Shift the pikes one at a time to a new position. Then raise the pole again. When the pole is past the 45-degree angle, you can work to better advantage if you use one hand to support the butt of the pike and the other hand to guide it. Once the pole is erected, it is faced in the proper direction. In this case, since the cross arms have not been attached, the gains on the pole are used as a guide. Now the pole is ready for aligning, then backfilling and tamping. After the pole has been firmly fixed in position by backfilling and tamping around the base of the pole, you can attach the cross arms. A sheave block has already been lashed above the top gain of the pole and a hand line fed through it. Pass the loop of the hand line around the cross arm and over one of the pins. Then at the end of the cross arm, use a half hitch. Other tying methods, which will permit the man at the top of the pole to easily remove the hand line, may also be used. Now you can lift the cross arm. Where short poles are used, the sheave block may not be necessary. This single cross arm is attached as usual with a 5/8" machine bolt. To level the cross arm, a man sights it in from the ground. After leveling the cross arm, tighten it firmly in position. Then the cross arm braces are attached to the pole using a lag screw. Sometimes an 18-inch spacing between cross arms will be specified. The holes drilled by the manufacturer on the cross arms cannot be used for the braces for 18-inch spaced cross arms. Instead, additional holes 4 inches farther out are drilled and used. You may also have to build a line where 12-inch spacing between cross arms is specified. Here, you move the braces to the back side of the cross arm. The double cross arm, that is, a cross arm on the face and back of the pole, bolted to each other, is used to support a strong pull from one direction. Here we see two double cross arms on a pole. This construction may be used for a dead-end pole or a corner pole. To construct a double cross arm, bore bolt holes 10 inches from each end of each cross arm. Make sure you keep the brace straight when you drill the holes. When the holes are completed, the cross arms are ready for the installation of bolts, which will hold the two cross arms together. B-bolts, equipped with square washers, are installed in both ends of one cross arm. Then the B-bolts on the ends of this cross arm are tightened. Now you are ready to attach the cross arm, which has been equipped with B-bolts, to the pole. Feed another B-bolt equipped with flat washer and nut on one end through the cross arm. Then use the B-bolt as the through bolt and feed it through the hole in the pole. Now you can place the other cross arm on the other side of the pole, passing the bolts through the prepared holes. Although cross arms are attached to both sides of the pole, a gain has been cut on only one side to avoid weakening the pole. A square washer and nut are placed on the other end of the through bolt, which holds the cross arms to the pole, and on the B-bolts at the ends of the cross arms. Next, measure the distance between the cross arms at the pole. Then make the distance between the ends of the cross arms the same as it is at the pole. You adjust this distance by turning the nuts on the B-bolts. The cross arms are made level, as in the usual cross arm installation. Then, the braces of each cross arm are attached to the pole with a lag screw. When completed and in position, the double cross arm construction looks like this. Two 30-inch braces are attached to each side of the pole. To reinforce cross arms on corner poles where the pull is not too great, you can use a back brace instead of a double cross arm. After the back brace and the cross arm are attached to the pole, line up the back brace along the center of the cross arm. Then, using the holes in the back brace as guides, bore holes in the cross arm. Now you can bolt the end of the brace to the cross arm. You do the same at the other end of the brace. After you level the cross arm in the usual manner, attach the 30-inch braces. The pole may now be erected. Here is a two cross arm pole set in position. Notice that it has both back bracing and vertical bracing. Where more than one cross arm using back bracing is placed on a pole, install vertical braces between the cross arms. The vertical brace is attached to the side opposite the back brace. Notice that the inner bolts of the back braces are used to fix the vertical brace in position. Another similar type of installation is this side arm construction, which is used when a building or other obstacle prevents standard construction. For this side arm construction, a 5.5-foot back brace is used on the long side of each cross arm. Whenever two or more cross arms are used for a side arm construction, a vertical brace must be attached to the other side of the cross arm. In the side arm construction, a diagonal brace is used to support the off-center cross arms. This diagonal brace has a footrest for use by linemen stringing wire on the pole. The lag screw holding the diagonal brace to the pole is 2 inches longer than normal for additional strength. In constructing a side arm installation, you will have to bore additional holes in the cross arms and move the pins to meet the particular situation. On the top of this pole, a buck cross arm is being used to turn a corner. It is used less often now for turning corners, because the sharp bend in the wires gives excessive loss in high-frequency carrier circuits. Instead, a two-pole corner is used now for turning corners. Construction of a buck crossarm is not as complicated as it appears. The top double crossarm is attached before the pole is erected. The second double crossarm is attached after the pole is erected and is placed at right angles to the first. Because the braces of the upper double crossarm would interfere with the installation of the lower double crossarm, they are not attached to the pole until after the lower double crossarm has been installed. After tightening the nut of the through bolt for the lower double crossarm, the ends of the lower double crossarms are bolted together. You can use a standard B-bolt, as is being done here, or you can use a wooden separating block and a machine bolt. Once this step is completed, the crossarms will be leveled and the braces attached to the pole. For long span construction, the H fixture is often used because of its great strength. Two poles are used to support the double crossarms. In erecting an H fixture, each stage of construction must be done carefully to make the structure fit together properly. Holes for the poles must be 6 feet 8 inches between centers. Poles must be the same class, and crossarm holes on the poles must be level with each other. Holes for the poles will be the same depth on level ground. On level ground, the two poles of an H fixture will be the same height. In every case, holes for the through bolts for attaching the crossarms to the two poles must be level with each other, and only one of the two poles is gained. If the holes of the first top crossarm do not exactly line up with the top holes on each pole, the horizontal distance between the two poles can be adjusted slightly in either direction for perfect alignment. Holes for the through bolts for an H fixture are bored 18 inches in from each end of the crossarms to accommodate B bolts. Two lengths of crossarm braces are used. A 20-inch brace near the end of the crossarm and a standard 30-inch brace toward the center of the crossarm. H fixtures often have several crossarms. The additional crossarms are installed in the same way as the first one. You have seen many of the usual methods of erecting poles and attaching crossarms. Normally, you will use single crossarm construction. For additional strength, the double crossarm may be used for a dead-end pole or a corner pole. Or for additional strength for a corner that has a slight pull, a back brace is used. To bypass an obstruction such as a building, the sidearm construction is used. And for long spans and for stability of the line, the H fixture is used. By selecting the most suitable type of crossarm construction, you can safely support any communication circuits.
Good day, Disgaea community. This is the final two-parter of this chapter. If you haven't noticed, each new chapter has more, like, I guess I should say each new episode has more and more chapters and parts in it. So it's going to take longer to complete each time. This is the worst kind of stage, in my opinion. These long vertical trudges. Simply because, unlike very wide areas,
Here I come.
where you can circumvent by throwing and, you know, lots of shoes and stuff like that.
Here I come.
Vertical, often, pretty much no character can throw that high. So you're going to have to get characters with good movement already and just equip a lot of shoes to compensate for the difference in height. And sometimes even that's not enough. Again, why I love the Professor class. Increase your movement or your jump power. Or both. But each axle has a clone block. So it's likely that another one will spring up. But also a jump block underneath. And that's it's the game's way of helping you climb this monstrous mountain. So it's like there's not even that many enemies, but it's still a time-consuming map the first time. And again, since it's still an Axel class, I don't know what class it's supposed to be. I'll do a class from a while ago that I could have done, but never got around to. It's the Valkyrie, which is like the female warrior. They're very similar, but there are some differences, and I'll go into that right now. My Valkyrie I made is named Lindis, Fire Emblem reference, in case you wondered.
Surrender to me.
I think she sounded better in previous games. But, alright, here's from the guide. While still frontline damage dealers, these women of battle have more options for support and area of effect work than warriors. Using bows for range or spears for versatile attacks, they have many choices for when and where to engage targets. However, Valkyries are limited in boss fighting. The substitution of bows for axes is not a particularly good one when dealing with single, powerful enemies. There are much better ranged classes in the game, and bows just aren't that much of a warrior's forte. Another downside of the female warrior line is that they sacrifice some offense. Any decrease in attack is bad for your frontline people. This is admittedly a small amount that is lost between the men and women, but it's still worth noting. Attempting to mitigate these minor problems, Valkyries get a good default utility. Assault attack gives a character a substantial buff as they move through a map and continue killing more and more targets. For a well-equipped warrior, this is a massive perk. All told, you won't be hurting your force if you select Valkyries instead of male warriors. Both are quite good, and personal taste is much more of a deciding factor. Making one character of each type is ideal for aggressive players who like to have the perks from each. Besides, it's never bad to have a huge number of damage dealers in this game, especially for item world runs. Of course, the thing is, make a Valkyrie. Valkyrie's needed to make an archer, which I will review at a later point. A class I have a habit of making, and they're usually pretty good, which I'll get into later. Anyway, you can make Valkyries from the start, and they have a fortes in swords, spears, and bows. However, I'm not sure which weapons they learn all attacks for. I think swords they do. I don't think bows or spears. I think spears are by far the worst weapon in every single Disgaea game, so I would not encourage giving them that. Swords used to have more versatility in their area of effects, but now they're primarily single damage, single target weapons. Bows, while statistically probably will be weaker, they have a lot of area of effect attacks, and defeating as many enemies in one turn is useful considering their base utility, which is assault attack and adds a damage bonus of 10% per enemy defeated. So defeat an enemy, your attacks do 10% more damage. Defeat 2, your attacks do 20%. So you'll get it's similar to Valvatore's in a sense. So you'll it's another one of those classes that can get progressively stronger on a single map by themselves. Let's see.
Here I come.
Average movement of 4, throwing range of 5, which is good. Neutral to fire and ice, and they are 50% weak to wind. Let's see, the Lady Fighter, which is the base class. Aptitudes are HP 110, SP 70, Attack 115, Defense 115, Intelligence 70, Resistance 80, Hit 110, and Speed 90. So, pretty decent overall. The aptitudes definitely lend to either bows or staves. They're for a melee class, they have appropriate sturdiness and good attack power. Let's see, then we have Lady Warrior, Valkyrie, Minerva Lass, Freya, and Iron Maiden. I like those names. The Iron Maiden has an HP aptitude of 135, SP 80, Attack 140, Defense 140, Intelligence 80, Resistance 90, Hit 135, and Speed 100. Overall, pretty good. Physical armor and belts are definitely good accessories for the Valkyrie class. Their second ability, Shield Mastery, decreases damage by 50% when receiving a normal attack. I guess it's cheap, so you might as well learn it. But enemies eventually will almost exclusively use special attacks. So unless you're like putting the Forget status ailment on every single enemy, this won't be as useful. Not to mention normal attacks are usually far weaker than special attacks anyway, so mitigating that damage isn't that important. Nowhere near as useful as Fuka's ability to half damage from special attacks. That's a big difference. Next one is Power Shot. 30% of base attack is added to hit when a bow is equipped. Great ability if you're using bows. Obviously useless if you're not. But great to learn if you plan to make a archer class later, as this is a great ability for the archer class to have. Since bows do damage based on the average of your attack and hit stat. So I tend to like these kind of abilities for weapon specialists. And finally, their Spear Sting. 30% of base hit is added to attack when a spear is equipped. A lot less useful, especially since I think spears are useless. They're horrible weapons, to be quite frank. Oh, that's deceptive. Look, there's a space in between that block and the mountain. I hate when the camera
Here I come!
Gives a false impression of the terrain. So annoying. Let's see. So that's the Valkyrie. A very well-rounded, average class. Good base ability. Although the warrior is more likely to do better damage overall thanks to his proclivity for swords and axes. But Valkyries are still good. A decent bow user. But if you reincarnate her into an archer afterwards, you'll have a much better archer. So that would be the main reason I would make a Valkyrie. Because you need to make a lot of the base classes to a certain level to unlock a lot of the later ones. That's always pretty annoying. And there's not much more to say. They're a pretty average class. Of course, now to pick a class to talk about for the next section. Ooh, I know. I also made a armor knight, or a heavy knight. And I didn't do that description yet. I can do that. There's also the bouncer, which was a really older class we didn't get into. And for monsters, I can do a shroom, a slumber cat. I did a human. Let's do a monster. So let's do the slumber cat. One that I hadn't gotten into. Okay. They give you sardine teeth at the beginning, but
Here I
I
come!
deleted her. I don't want to use this class. Although maybe I was mistaken in deciding that. I don't even really know what this class is capable of. Let's find out. A 1, a 2, a 3. Slumber Cats are a defensive fighting class. They may look cute and cuddly, but they're fairly good at rushing into the middle of enemy groups and surviving for longer than you'd expect. Their mix of abilities make it quite hard for foes to hit them. Use Trick Move, equip some good shoes, and stay mobile. Trick Move is an awesome ability to learn so that other characters can inherit it. Evasion-based defenders like Ninja have a great time with Trick Move. Obviously now I have to
I've got your back.
know what Trick Move does. So I'm just checking my foreign minister progress. These are my characters that went to other characters' senates. And look, I received a vinyl cloth as a bribe. That's nice. Let's see here. Alright, their base ability, Calming Aura, halves damage taken from monster-type units. Any ability that isn't a damage ability, but halves damage of a certain kind is nice. Since half the characters in this game are monsters anyway, that's not bad. Although, when I get into their aptitudes, it's kind of a mixed bag considering their defensive aptitudes aren't particularly astounding. You know, it's not like the Wood Golem where they have all these HP regenerative abilities and a huge HP stat. But let's see, the next one is Cat Step. Gives the character a 50% chance to evade attacks made by enemies at a lower height. That could actually be quite nice, considering they do have a good speed stat. Very annoying. If you're going to prioritize... Oh, I'm just resetting for a better approval rate. 61 was pretty good. 63 is better. So yeah, some people want to see more of the Senate. So it's just some guy's basic warrior. Nothing to fear. I can just give him an item if I feel nice. Although he didn't favor me more as a result, which is odd. Must have the gold bar, but that's a waste because everybody wants a gold bar. Save that for really tough monsters that you don't want to fight. Remember, if you're curious of whether or not you could take on the Senate, remember all of these monsters have no equipment, so they're a lot less troublesome than you might think they would. Like a level 500 Necomon is like, oh crap! Well, its stats are nowhere near as what it would be since they have no equipment. Approved, dude! Trick Move. Next ability. Raises evasion bonuses by 10% for each panel move that turn. Combine this with Cat Step, and actually, yeah, you would have a pretty damn good evasive class. And even if they did hit you, Calming Aura would take effect if they're a monster. Come together, these are pretty good. And I could see that being useful for giving to a ninja because all attacks from the front have a maximum chance of hitting at 49%. Not bad. As long as the abilities compound like this, this might be a worthwhile class. Finally, there's Rapid Movement, which adds 2 movement when the character's SP is at the maximum. That's handy if you're to give to a Mothman for the purpose of the item world. Actually, I should really teach my Mothman this move. That would be handy to have, yes sir. Alright, so the Cat Saber, which is the default class. We have an HP of 80, SP 90, Attack 110, Defense 90, Intelligence 80, Resistance 90, Hit 110, and Speed 120. I'm glad the speed is the highest. But remember, you need to get to Tier 3 to learn that other evasion ability, and I think that's when the Cat class would be the most useful. Then we got the War Cat, Kate Sith, Grimalkin, Elbaki, and the Lord Cat God. Lord Cat God. Seems a bit redundant. Okay, Lord Cat God has HP of 90, SP 115, Attack 135, Defense 115, Intelligence 90, Resistance 115, oh he's level 6, Hit 135, and Speed 145. The attack is decent, and they do have an attack with the power of S. Okay, that's just weird.
All right.
Alright. I miss my ball buster. But these are good to pass because every time, if you put a character in this, a certain stat will level up a lot more when they level up. It's nice to have. Alright, so the class... Oh, get this. They changed into a gun, and I would list the resistances, only the grid for that is blank. Brady Guide, strike again in incompetence. It's astounding. I keep finding new typos in this game, and this isn't even a typo. This is just... It's just gone. It doesn't exist. How shitty is that? Wow. I should compile a list of all the typos in this game. No, I shouldn't. That's a waste of time. Okay. Wow, I almost did another class before I even got to the final fight. Alright, the final fight and the confrontation with Axel in episode 6.
You haven't transformed yet? Such persistence. Why won't you just accept it already? Could it be that you're just shy? Are you just too embarrassed to show your excitement?
I'm just embarrassed, period. Damn it, I am a lady. Why would I want to become an idiot like you? Dusko doesn't want to be an idiot. Dusko wants to become a final boss, and then...
Stop calling me an idiot! Can't you feel my reason, intelligence, nobility surging into your bodies? You understand, right, young master? Following the Corruptment's orders and turning into me is the most righteous thing you can do!
Sorry, but I want to become a great demon.
Ah, you too? Hey, wait a minute. Are you saying that I'm not a great demon? Shish, whatever. No matter how much you resist, there's no turning back once you contracted my virus. You have no choice but to be me!
You! Don't you feel the guilt of your sin? Don't you feel anything seeing all of these people suffering?
Well, it's not like I don't feel bad or anything. But evil is justified in its own evil way. It's not up to us to decide whether this is really evil or not.
Hey, there's no point in trying to talk sense into that idiot.
Dusko is very close to transforming.
Don't give up. I don't remember allowing anyone who would give up before the battle to join my party. Keep fighting till the end. I'll make you a promise right now. Even if you all turn into Axel, I will find a way to turn you guys back to your original forms. So don't give up until the end.
How much longer can you keep it up? Just turn into me so you can relax already. My turn will last forever in this nether world. Get it? Turn?
Axel everywhere, so let's all have a drink. Too bad for him, it's only level 5. Oh, this is a good song. Of course, Axel himself has a pretty nice amount of HP. And his ability doesn't help matters either. Thinking about it, if you were to magic change a Cat Saber onto Axel, they would take 50% less damage from every single unit with their compounded abilities. Not bad. So the Axels on the side are just fodder. You can probably even ignore them. The only threat is the actual Axel. Of course, I'm just fusing to get the much bigger area of effect. Okay, where was I? Slumber Cats. First skill is Cat Kick Teaser. Powers E. It's a standard melee attack. Point blank, single target. But at least the power's E, not F. So, that's nice. Then we have Kitty Cat Hoop. Hits 3 in a row right in front of you. Power's also E, but, you know, you get to hit 3 people. That's nice. Sky Surfer, which I think is a Eureka 7 reference. It's got a power D, and I think it hits all adjacent units. I really hate those kind of attacks. They're very situational. Used it to take advantage of wind weaknesses. And then, finally, Bell Volcano. It can range of 3 in any direction, and the power is S. So, while this is... Any monster that learns an S attack is very nice. So I guess it is a decent combination of speedy evasion and power. You know, not as crappy as I thought, but just not something I wanted to use. I mean, if you get one at the beginning, and if you bother to make it as good as you can, it would probably be a pretty good unit. Speed is like the only decent defense stat in the late post game, since it doesn't really matter what your defense and HP is, you're gonna get one-shotted by most character skills. So the class could potentially have some late game promise, and it's got 5 movement from the base, which is very nice. So that means if you move your maximum amount of turns and you don't even have a pair of shoes equipped, you will increase your evasion by 50%. And if you're at a higher level, again, 50% more evasion. Very nice. Magic Change attacks, they're gun moves. So Fishing Cloud has... It's got an area of effect like Fuga's Glorious Hitter. Powers E, it can hit 4 tiles away. I'm probably not going to use this attack that much. And then there's Hairball Incident, which I think it's a cross. No, not a cross. An X. So it hits 5 enemies, and it can hit 6 tiles away, surprisingly, with the power of D. And that's handy because there are no other gun skills that have that kind of area of effect. So, all in all, Cat's, the Slumber Cat, oh wow, and the jump power is even 35.
I'll show you.
Sounds better than I initially took it for. Probably one of the better base monster classes, actually. Just by the sounds of it. I don't have extensive playtime with the class. Obviously, I've made every single monster class because I made that exhibition video, but I only really made them for the purpose of seeing their moves. I haven't really used them outside of my good old slime and wood golem in a much longer period of time.
Not bad.
So, rather than trying to go all the way to Axe, I'm going to lure into me. Of course, now I have no idea which one it is. Which one is it? Oh wow, I actually get to use the entire burst, special burst.
Here I come!
This situation like never comes up. Crazy. Alright, so I guess the real one is taking a piss on that tombstone over there. Dad, running over a tombstone is bad luck. Really? I thought good luck. So I'm going to try to surround her with units to increase her attack. That's a great ability. Wow. I guess it counts as a side attack because the evasion is 62. I mean, the hit chance is 62. No, not enough. I'm just getting her out too. Increases stats by a little bit. Had I learned her other ability that lowers all enemies' evasion, that would have been He's not really attacking a lot, is he? In fact, he even kind of put himself in a position where I can attack him better. I only have 18 SP. She's going to revert back to normal after this. How did best go about this? 27. Darn his speed. Oh, it's 30% resistant to wind. Annoying. This should do it. Good old heart cannon.
You all ready for this?
Wanna get cracked? Oh, it actually hit. Thank you, Speed Drop.
Here I come! Canine Fist! Here I come! Not bad!
Nice. 4 normal attacks. I love you, Heart Cannon. Alright, I always love it when it's 4 people. But this is the worst animation. But Fenrir was happy to be right behind Val. Yep, didn't even take all the heart cannon shots. And that, my friends, is episode 6. See you in the next chapter.
Don't even think this is over. As long as the A virus exists, the second, third, and even fourth me will keep coming back.
Good! That idiot has been defeated. How's everyone doing?
Desco's body feels hot.
Mine too! I can't do this anymore.
No, nothing has changed even after the original has fallen. This means...
If only our Lord's logic was correct. A terrible misfortune.
Damn it! Get a hold of yourselves! Where's your spirit? Toughen up! Don't you have a mission to accomplish?
My mission? I'm...
Look at you guys!
Damn it! Hey, you! We didn't get better even after we defeated the original Axel! You turned me into this! How are you gonna take responsibility for this nightmare? Your consciousness is still present. You're mentally tough. I don't want you to be impressed. If I have to look like this, I wish I would have lost my consciousness too. Ugh, even if I confessed my love to a boy under a legendary tree, my love would never come true.
Dusko doesn't care about anything anymore. Who cares about being a final boss?
My leg and chest hair are perfect now.
Lord Val, please don't look at me. Please consider your loyal servant Fenric to be dead. My only wish is that my master, Lord Valvatores, will not succumb to this infectious disease.
Do not give up, Fenric. I will find a cure!
How? You're gonna transform sooner or later too, you know? Then there won't be anything you can do about it.
I'm not going to give up. I made a promise to find a cure no matter what.
Forget it. We're all gonna be idiots. It's fine. I forgive you. It's not like this was your fault.
Shut up! I'm not giving up. I won't give up yet. I promised you that I'd take you to meet the president. I promised Desko to train her until she becomes a final boss. I preached to Rascal about how important it is to keep your promises. Am I going to break a promise now? Am I? Well, am I going to helplessly break those promises again, just like that one time?
I have no choice.
Huh? What are you doing?
Shh. Can you please just keep it down? Please, drink this blood. Huh? This blood? But... just do it! What's going on? My body is... I'm back! I'm a lady again! I'm seriously back to normal!
What does this mean? How did you do that with just your blood?
The blood of angels possesses the power to purify any impurities. I should have contracted the virus long ago, but I wasn't showing any symptoms, so I gave it a shot. Looks like my theory was right on target. My blood will counteract the A virus. Thank you, Artina! My name is Volcanus. I thought I told you that. Okay, fine, Volcanus. Can you please share your blood with my little sis? I mean Desko and the rest of our party?
No! What are you gonna do to me? I feel better than ever!
Shut up! Did you forget my rule? You vowed absolute loyalty to me.
Stop it! Don't you dare disobey me!
There now. Please go right ahead, Doctor. No problem.
It feels as though Desko had a super terrible nightmare.
Ugh. Why does my head hurt?
I'm so happy for you two, and it's all thanks to Volcanus here. You need to thank her too.
Really? Miss Volcanus, thank you. Oh, but Desko should question the moral implications of being saved by an angel as a final boss.
So You saved us? Hey, you're not gonna charge us, are you?
I wonder. What about you, Mr. Werewolf? You would never accept my help, would you?
So this is your payback.
I'm just joking. Here, please drink it.
I won't show you any gratitude.
I wasn't expecting you to, so it doesn't matter.
No, thank you. I'm fine.
Why not? You're going to transform soon.
I'm not scared of any viruses. I'll force it out of my body with my spirit, fortitude, and the power of sardines!
Are you scared of drinking my blood? That you'll break your promise?
What do you know about that promise?
Oh, well, that's too bad. I wish you luck with your spirit and fortitude, Mr. Vampire.
Wait! You knew your blood was the cure to the virus long before you stepped up. Why didn't you come out with it earlier?
Angels are forbidden from wounding their own bodies by Celestian law.
So you broke the law. Why would you do that? Was it so that our Lord wouldn't have to break his promise? Are you, in fact...
I did it all for the money, of course. Please don't misinterpret my motives. All the blood I gave you guys will, of course, come with a price tag. My blood is quite expensive, you know. Can you afford 880,141 hell multiplied by the number of people here?
That's so freaking expensive!
Of course. And that's with a generous discount. But I know you don't have that kind of money right now, so I'll just have to tag along with you until you can afford it. You guys better rest here for a bit. I'm gonna go make some money. I should be able to make a ton from all the infected people in this world.
That's what she says, but...
Desco can tell. That lady is actually a good person.
She even broke the law to save us.
Oh, now I'm in her debt. What a shame.
However, we have to accept the fact that she saved us from that crisis.
Yes, my lord. Regrettably, it is what it is. I shall take my frustrations out during the next battle.
The next battle, huh? Has the time finally come? To battle the Netherworld President? I'm counting on you, Fenric!
Understood. All is for my lord.
After exterminating the mass-produced Axles, we head for the Netherworld's Mother Temple, the executive office of the President!
Ooh, finally a normal preview?
The President is basically the head of the Netherworld. Ever hear, better to be the head of a sardine than the tail of a sea bream? Huh?
So you're gonna talk about sardines after all.
It's an idiom that means it's better to be the leader of a small group than to be a peon of a much more powerful group.
That's correct. But herein lies a huge mistake. There are over 200 kinds of fish in the world with the name Tai, but only 100 of them are considered to make up the family. Compared to that, there are 300 kinds of sardines in the world. It's an overwhelming victory for sardines. In other words, we shouldn't be using sardines to symbolize the smaller group. You should now think of sardines as the bigger, more powerful and awesome group.
As expected of my lord, not only the history of the Netherworld, but you've now changed the meaning of an idiom as well.
Next time, final episode, Aim for the Head, the final runoff for Netherworld President, Rebellion Kick!
I'm gonna be the president!
The Ascended Masters, September 16, 2012. Can you feel what has been commencing on your surface, dear souls? Can you feel the strides that you are reaching, and the willingness of the higher realms to make ourselves known within the four of your perceptions? Your realities and perceptions have been in the midst of a continual shifting process for some time. As you pair together what you recognize as pure higher dimensional reality, with what you recognize as realities that only feed former ways of being, and by performing this pairing, you are finding higher dimensional perceptions that are quite literally upgrading your temples as you realize what no longer works for you. As you grow into purer perceptions of what reality is, you naturally begin to be exposed to all that which you have held dear to your hearts, but which has been feeding in yourselves a prevalent lower dimensional experience. No dear soul has ever judged for the choices that they wish to make along their paths, and all of you are loved infinitely by us and by our dear Creator, and we know that despite the actions you have made on your path, you are all finding the realms of Source, and will eventually be existing within the pure realms of our dear Creator, wherein you will experience a total unity with the energy that you truly are within. We ask you to consider the idea of existing with no wish for an identity, and we wish you to know as well that if you do not wish for such an experience, you can stay within the realms that do not yet garner such an experience, until you find yourselves comfortable with experiencing the next stage and octave of growth and consciousness. Imagine feeling and being the pure energies of Source, and needing nothing else. Rest assured, dear souls, you will go through a plethora of stages and octaves of harmonic reality still before you find yourselves in the realms wherein you will take no identity or memory, and simply exist as Source. Many of you have many lives and stages planned out for yourselves, that include existing as planets and stars which help to create and sustain reality for beings existing within a lower consciousness. Upon entering the realms of the fifth dimension, and upon entering realms that many of us speaking to you naturally exist within, you will find the desire for service to others as being fashioned into helping others to evolve. As you yourselves evolve into even purer realms than those of the fifth dimension, you will find your desire to serve others in their growth become so strong that you will quite literally want to host life within yourselves and on the surface of your structures, so that you can assist the souls who will be existing upon you to evolve by quite literally hosting their experiences. Many of you will indeed choose to exist as planets and suns, and you will realize upon doing this, the collective, connected nature of all planets within their respective solar systems. You will find upon ascending to the fifth dimension, that your entire solar system is quite connected, and that even those planets, who have been hosting lower dimensional life, and disconnected societies throughout their history, have at their higher dimensional cores retained a strong and connected bond with the rest of their solar system. It is truly quite a beautiful unity, and it is one that you are all to understand in the time ahead, as you absorb continually pure light energies, which you are assimilating into yourselves at present quite marvelously. We have made the decree after holding meetings with the highest Kusil overseeing your world's ascension, that the energy you are being given now be increased each time it is sent down to your world, rather than the energy only being pumped up in purity along synchronistic and important dates. We are doing this in preparation for a mass opening of gates of energy all around your world. This mass opening of portals has been known of and discussed for quite some time, and you dear souls can't see our discussions of it at this time as a simple confirmation that it is indeed to occur. Indeed, this opening of energy gates throughout your world for all to see and feel in yourselves has been planned for every bit as long as your dear Earth has hosted your life, along the lower stages of growth which are to end ultimately with the openings of such gates, and this will see the collective of Earth initiated into a higher dimensional consciousness, and into realms that are being tailor-made and fashioned by you dear souls, in every moment with your thoughts, feelings, and actions. You are to find the opening of such gates as quite literal representations and results of the opening of your chakras, as these gates of energy are indeed the chakras of dear Mother Earth, and you will find that many of them exist within the sky and atmosphere of dear Gaia. Many of these gates are as well where your galactic brethren can be noticed at times zooming in and out. Your galactic brethren have a cloaking feature accompanying their ships, but we say that this is not always what you dear souls, who experience the sightings of their ships, are seeing whenever they disappear. At times you are quite literally witnessing such ships going in, or coming out of your specific reality structure through gates of energy, that are to be fully opened and made known on your world, in the immediate time ahead. You are to feel connections and openings in yourselves get much stronger and more expansive, as you discover the innate abilities that you have always carried within. Some of you are beginning to expose these abilities, as you are just beginning to discover them, while others are on a fast track to mastering such abilities, as you learn to master the balance that is essential for you to keep during your experiences that lay ahead. There are to be many different entities vying for your attention in the days ahead, as the old ways become exposed to you dear souls, and the lower entities find themselves not wanting to be transmuted. You will find distraction after distraction, external stimuli after external stimuli, and all of these happenings will be quite designed to take your attention away from your unfolding higher dimensional perceptions and experience, as you are entering a time at present that is very important to your overall growth. As always, we implore you to keep the balance that you have worked so hard to find within yourselves, as this balance will be essential to your realization of all that is no longer in resonance with your continually ascending bodies and spirits. You may find quite volatile emotions and former heart sets coming up for your review at times, and this will happen in a way that, for the specific growth of all of you, will attempt to get you to either realize or continually feed that which propagates it, as a wish on the part of what is surfacing to stay within your sphere of experience rather than being transmuted is meant to act in accordance with your growth. You will see such times as literal testing periods, wherein you can find what parts of yourselves are ready to transmute the lower and former mindsets and heart sets, and be able to find and maintain the essential balance that will see you transmuting such former aspects of yourselves without becoming attached to them in a manner that would see you feeding them and continuing to bring them through yourselves. You are all tested every single day of your ascending lives along your path, and especially at this time each bit of testing that you go through is essential to the development of your multidimensional self. As you hold the focus and balance that is allowing your former pains to be transmuted, we are working to maintain a connection and interaction, even if only on an energetic and not inherently personal level, with each one of you, who can find yourselves open to our presence and to the specific assistance that we will be giving. You are all encouraged to call upon Archangel Raphael at any time you are feeling that your continual processes are getting too difficult, as this soul has trained specifically in the avenue of assistance with transmutation and healing pain for quite some time, and will be effective and helpful for you to your souls in such avenues. External things have helped many of you to cope with the lower dimensional earthly experience, and with the continual transmutations you are performing quite masterfully. At this time, you are to find even the need to utilize any time of external stimulation or validation of your unfolding higher dimensional experience to be quite a bother or chore to continue to feed, as you find that you wish instead to simply feel the multi-dimensional energy of Source that will be coming through yourselves at all times. Meditation will assist you greatly in finding the energies being given to you at this time, and we happily note that many of you note while you are meditating that the energies do indeed seem to be increasing in purity, as you find yourselves much better able to access such energies, and we say that it is indeed becoming easier for you to access and attain these energies, because you have deserved to access them, dear souls. You have been performing the work that is seeing you access these energies, and the accompanying limitless realities, in the pure and clear ways that you have wished to, and we ask you, dear souls, with love and respect, to realize that there are no more physical, concrete knowings for you to experience and feed, as the energies coming to and through you now are tearing down quite literally and energetically any perceptions of normalcy that have been fed on your world. Concrete mindsets will become no more, as you find that truly anything is possible. You will find that even that which you have assured yourselves of as a reality may be more hollow than you have realized, and you will find that no concrete mindsets exist within yourselves anymore, as you find an expansion and understanding of infinity that sees the feeling of impossible completely erased from yourselves. The unveiling of the fifth dimension on your world quite literally signifies the end of duality, and the end of any type of limitation in general. No longer will you find yourselves limited in any avenues of your lives, and no longer will you find yourselves inhibited in working with the higher realms and finding a higher dimensional experience, as you will find that you are the higher dimensions. You are as well a combination of all that you have experienced throughout the lower and higher dimensions, and this is why many of you will see former aspects of yourselves whenever looking at yourselves from an outward point of view. You will see former aspects, pains, and mindsets as they come up for review, and you will see as well that since you no longer wish to feed such mindsets, the parts of yourselves that such mindsets kept locked away begin to become freed and expressed through your continually evolving body structures, and this is something that is already happening to many of you at present. Many of your continually fed mindsets, and many of the very actions you have fed and seen as normal, are being exposed as having been fashioned by you in an effort to cope with the lower dimensional experience, and, as this happens, your pure, golden selves are able to shine forth without any limitation or inhibition in their ability to do so. We ask you to bathe in the real, clear and pure waters of your perceived imagination, and to realize that every interaction that takes place within your imagination is a real action that has been manifested in realms past your current, physical perception. Feel yourselves all maintaining your new realities, as the old breaks down around you. This is indeed the theme that has been discussed endlessly, the old breaking down and the new becoming known. And this is because as you break through the former parts of yourselves coming up for transmutation, it is very important for you, dear souls, to have a good grasp on this subject, and on this process which is occurring through your bodies and spirits at this time. It is good to have a foundation of information laid so that you, dear awakening souls, can begin to understand many aspects of your ascension that have baffled some of you. It is important for you to understand the mechanics that are driving your creation, and as well for you to understand the mind and heart sets you bring through, which are continually greeting your reality every single moment of your beautiful existence. Many of you wonder why you seem at times to be hit with walls of difficult events manifesting along your lives, and we tell you that these happenings occur in accordance with the free will-based and karmic energies you have brought through yourselves, and they are as well attempting to expose you to the walls that you have put up within yourselves, whenever willfully, and at times, unknowingly employing lower dimensional mind or heart sets, and finding the resulting experiences within your lives. You are all picking up on the energies given out by yourselves and by the entire collective as well, and this is why there have been a few on your world with negative intents, who have wished to manipulate the overall collective consciousness, and by doing so, manipulate each individual, and you, dear souls, are breaking through this collective programming, as you are witnessing it in action all around you. Indeed, we could not even understand the earth experience in as love a way, as you, dear souls, can whilst you undergo your experiences, but many of us have spent time on your world, in a plethora of lives, and, as a result, can peek back into our own experiences upon your world. However, do understand that besides taking such lives, we do not choose to lower our consciousness further than the fifth dimension, as doing so would likely see us drawn too far down, and this is something that we do not wish to create for ourselves. Whenever bringing our words or impressions through, you, dear souls, are extending parts of yourselves out to beginning thresholds of the fifth dimension that we are able to meet you upon, and this is why one with a fully cleared out temple, or at least one who is making the honest, tried, and true effort in themselves to bring through a communication, will be capable of reaching such thresholds, and reaching our energies and impressions. You, dear souls, make your energetic ventures up to such planes, even if only temporarily, upon cleansing your bodies and spirits, and being able to bring the purest possible stream of our energies through yourselves, that you, dear souls, can. Many of you who are quite far along your paths at this point are noting that you are again seeming to be met with unending difficult moments in your lives, wherein events seem to pile up on you, and we say that you are undergoing some of the most rapid, and, as a result, difficult, cleansing experiences of all that is no longer in resonance with the realms of the fifth dimension, which, with the recent strides reached along your calendar in conjunction with the strides which are about to be reached, are seeing you closer to such realms than ever before. You have the opportunity to feel your closeness with the realms of the fifth dimension now, as your surface, and you all have been traveling throughout the fourth dimension, on varying levels for each of you. Even many who are branded unawakened have been venturing the beginning realms of the fourth dimension, for longer than they realize, and those of you who are undergoing a considerable awakening at this point are able to act in accordance within yourselves and with the dates being reached to actively assist in bringing through the energy that is decreed to come through on such dates. You are all beginning to collectively work within the realms of the astral, and you have long been working within your dream state to help your world and your bodies to ascend. While many of you only remember the lesson phases of your dreams, wherein you and your guides construct sceneries and places for you to go in your remembered dreams that are meant as encoded message and lessons, while many of you only remember such ventures which take place most notably in your morning time, while your bodies lay sleeping. You are performing much more work than you realize within the astral realms of your world, and within realms quite beyond the astral. As your bodies lay sleeping, you are all out visiting a plethora of realms, many of which are past the vicinity of your earth, which you discover upon reaching your higher dimensional selves, after having departed for the night from your bodies. There are many souls who choose to stay within the astral realms of the earth, and many who choose not to access their higher selves upon exiting their bodies, but those of you who are awakening at your surface at this point are seeing a rapid understanding each and every night that your bodies lay sleeping, of your higher selves, who you are becoming increasingly, and we ask you, dear souls, to understand that your daytime is the hardest period for you at present, We say this because upon experiencing even a day with much difficulty, you depart your bodies and undergo the most amazing, and for you, long and intense healing sessions and higher dimensional travels. Dearest souls, you are literally remedying yourselves and all of your earthly ventures upon leaving your bodies at night, and you are as well communicating actively with us, with your galactic brethren, and most importantly, with each other, each and every dear soul on your world, who is directly assisting the ascension of your world via the internet, television, or any other means. You all hold routine meetings with us and yourselves as your bodies lay sleeping on how you are to coordinate exactly what is written by you all or given through you via channeled means, to ultimately assist the awakening light worker public in better understanding a plethora of issues. Some of you remember these dreamtime interactions with others, but for the most part, the majority of you do not remember your ventures, and many have not remembered fully the dreamtime interactions between fellow bloggers, truth seekers, channelers, and in general, anybody on your world at present, who is bringing forth light and truth for the general public to benefit from. Many of you have also been convening to plan methods that will see you accessing the light ships and motherships of your galactic brethren whilst your bodies lay sleeping, and we encourage wholeheartedly this practice, as you are quite literally remembering real experiences as they commence. Indeed, many of you dear souls have, in your sleep time, taken to cutting meetings short and finishing up the dreamtime tasks you had set out for yourselves so that you could consciously remember inhabiting a starship of your galactic brethren. In essence, dear souls, you are enacting the change that you have wished to enact for yourselves, and this is one reason why there has been a decreed pushback on the issuing of disclosure until a certain needed time. You are creating the change that you have wished to see, one interaction with each other at a time, and as you connect to spread awareness in the strong and pure manner that many of you are at this time, you are creating a strong karmic energy for yourselves, which is also aiding in the collective being able to understand and absorb many truths in this initiatory period directly before disclosure on your world. Rest assured, dear souls, you are existing within a temporary initiatory period before many exciting events begin to burst forth on your world. And it is simply that this period has been expanded so that you dear souls could yourselves break through the matrix of the lies of the dark and the false realities that they have created for you, which you are doing quite wonderfully at this time. We wish for this truth not to be misunderstood or distorted into claiming that your galactic brethren have not disclosed themselves solely because your dark have had too tight of a grip on your world. As while this has been a slight factor, the reason has actually been quite the opposite. It was seen how wonderfully you dear souls were, and are breaking through the dark trickery, as you realize the existence of a plethora of other realities, and you find the true hollowness of the realities that the dark have created for you. The dark souls have long meant to be exposed to you dear souls, and they absolutely will be, and until the biggest disclosure announcements begin to come forth, we say that it is you who are bringing forth the exposures of the dark, not us, and not your galactic brethren either. It has been explained, the godhood of man, soul routinely, that many of you have quite accepted, and began to understand in more positive ways, the true powers of creation that you hold within. You are all realizing that your energy need not be linked to an outside source, as you begin to find an inner peace and harmony within. And the efforts of your galactic brethren as well as numerous other beings who speak via channeled communications are meant to assist you in finding our energies for yourselves. As our energies help to expose you to the specific signature of our frequencies of energy, and you begin to pick up on them more and more as you find a personal connection with us and guidance from us, it is you dear souls who are initiating everything. And while we and your galactic brethren have done much to assist the inevitable events that are about to commence on your beautiful blue world. Do not let yourselves believe for a second that we have acted alone in this effort. We truly could not have done anything on your world without the awakening of you, dear beautiful souls, and your resulting desire to spread your awakenings and your truth, which is the truth of our Creator, to every dear soul on your world who has existed within a false matrix of reality. We love you all so very dearly, and we encourage you to encourage yourselves, especially if you are submerged within dull or off-putting moments in your lives. You are bringing forth every last bit of change that you have wished to see, and this change is boosted with the efforts you are making now, which are to expand exponentially in the time ahead. Remember, dear souls, you are the ones you have been waiting for. Thank you to the Ascended Masters,